Welcome to Undo, the podcast where we rethink work, rest, and play. I'm Dulcie.
And I'm Yemisi. Hi.
And we're here to have the conversations that don't happen enough about ambition, identity, rest, joy, and doing life on your terms. So if you're done shrinking, settling, or running on fumes, you are in the right place. All right. I can't believe it. We're back. Season 2. Things are fresh. Intentional, that's my word of the season, intention. Regular listeners will notice there are some slight changes, but not really. You know, we're still talking about the same kind of things, but there are some new regular features that I won't spoil, but you will come to get familiar with across the season. But today, we're going to start with, I think, quite an important topic, which is something that a lot of us have internalized without even really consciously thinking about it, and that is the topic of success. And the weight of success, not just what it looks like, but what it feels like. Because if it doesn't feel good, is it truly success? But I feel like we've been given this picture of success, right? It's very much, you know, whether it's at work and the titles or your salary, or it's, you know, marriage, kids, it's home ownership, it's cars, it's holiday, you know, there's quite a sort of homogenous image of success, right? And it's all about the grind. And I feel like we've been taught that from very, very early around this is what success looks like, and you are a good person if you succeed.
Yeah.
What does success mean to you, or what has success meant to you?
I think it's hard to talk about success without talking about childhood influences and family and societal pressure. And I think one of those things that really strikes me about it is the fact that as someone who grew up in Nigeria and as a millennial, where the internet was, you know, we were first exposed to the internet en masse, so to speak. We have this very Frankenstein, weird amalgamation of African and Western ideals of success. Whereas before in our parents' generation, it was a little bit more straightforward, where society was more like the man is the breadwinner, and then women kind of, and the culture as well, Yoruba culture, women are not really expected to be contributing financially to the household. It's good. It's not like, but you know, the woman's money is her money. The man's money is the family's money. Like women, you know,
yours is mine and what's mine as well.
Exactly. And it was kind of like, you know, you have very entrepreneurial women who had families, who had homes, but there was less pressure on women to be the breadwinners. But then when you start introducing kind of westernized ideals into it, and some of it is feminism, but also it was us watching previous generations of how women were almost enslaved by their significant others because of financial issues. So if you have one person earning all the money and you have another person who's not earning as much, the power and the control imbalance was something that we saw abused consistently as young women. And so we kind of grew up with like, okay, we are going to make sure we have our own money. So there's that aspect of it. But and also, you know, to be fair, like Nigerians were very conscious about money. We didn't really have a middle class. The middle class really eroded the older we got. So the discrepancy between having money and not having money, especially now, is huge. So having money is a big driver of success. Financial success. When you say success now, to a typical Nigerian, they'll be like money. That's success.
What about for you? You specifically?
For me specifically, it's hard to say. It's hard it's hard to undo kind of decades of programming. I think financial is definitely a big part of that. And even when I was growing up, things like academic success as well, doing well in school, getting good grades, and then getting a good job and making good money. Those were kind of like the metrics. Oh, finding a good spouse, staying married forever. All of these things kind of like, you know, I've been influenced in some way, shape, or form by those things. But one thing I will say, Dulcie, is that for me, I've gotten to the point at my big age of 40 something that success always has a price. Regardless of how you define it, it always has a price. And I've started realizing that there's some successes that I may like on paper or may look good to me, but when I check the price of it, I'm like, no thanks. That's so for me, success is more about how I feel and about myself, about my relationships, about my environment, and having the freedom to be able to make decisions that are in line with my values and what I'm being true to myself. For me, that's success. So that was a pretty long kind of.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And I think a lot of people will identify with that, right? Of this sort of the messages around success being deeply shaped by culture, by family. And for me, born and raised over here, so more of a Western, I suppose, upbringing. And much more influenced by feminism, like all girls private school. It had that and I remember my deputy headmistress was a proper feminist kind, fuck men type. And the expectation was that we would all get fantastic jobs and make a shit ton of money and afford to send our kids to that school too one day, basically.
The cycle continues.
And like there wasn't much of an interest in success in terms of who you marry and whatnot. Like the assumption is that you would find the right mate, but really it was about you go out into the world and make something of yourself, and almost like maintain the lifestyle your parents can afford, like do match it or better it. And it's that sort of just go on, what else are you supposed to do? Come on, make it happen. And I think those lessons for me definitely were very influential in terms of pushing, striving. And for me, success was very much focused on career. I didn't really care about anything else. It was career. It was title, salary, all that kind of thing. But then like the more I got, the more I was like, this isn't that great. Like, I mean, it's great. 6 figures is nice, but it doesn't solve all your problems.
No.
And like, actually, the journey I've been on for the past couple of years has been the real turning point for me as to what success actually is. And I actually don't agree that success has a price. I think what you judge as success shouldn't have a price, or it's not success. So my viewpoint is actually there's a difference between the expectation from others, the image of success that seems to be predominant in society versus you as an individual deciding what success is for you. So for some people, and like some people get it, there's people that have like gone off grid and they're like, yeah, no, I'm not into this. I'm actually just going to live my life like this. And they are completely content with that. They are unmitigated successes, not because, and they don't have any of the common markers of success, but what they do have is an understanding of what matters to them and the ability and the bravery to live to that. And I think that's what true success is to me now, because having achieved a lot of the things I thought success was and found them hollow, I had to completely reconfigure my beliefs. And I'm still doing that work about what success is. And I think, well, we'll get into like why this is such a problem for many of us, right? And I think it's one of these things that can be years and years work, but I think it's worth it. So coming back then to this challenge of why this story fails around success is because of the way success, capital S, is positioned. It's output, productivity, titles. It's not defined by joy or rest or peace, which is crazy to me. It's all this capitalistic bullshit. It's harmful. It's narrow. It's limited. We're glorifying overwork and we're suspicious of ease. That feels like a trap to me.
Well, it is, isn't it?
It's a huge trap.
It's a massive trap to
Yeah,
keep us in the rat race and
exactly.
generating income for the select few.
Exactly. So we've and then because of that, we've built all these systems that reward us for burning ourselves out and penalize us for looking after ourselves.
Yeah.
God.
Ain't that a bitch?
Oh my God. I feel like I'm at the end of like the original Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes when he realizes he's in New York. Oh God. When you realize that this is all a trap.
It's a trap.
Absolutely. Like I said, this particular season of Earth, it's not, it's jumped the shark. It really has. Like,
Black Mirror ain't got
yeah,
nothing on what's actually happening.
like I don't like this. But yeah, so on this whole thing of like success, success that we've been sold, no one really talks about how this ladder that you're being encouraged to climb can feel so hollow, bring back an old phrase, when it's leaning against the wrong wall. Bits of research here. So this lady, Dr. Laurie Santos, who teaches a course at Yale called The Science of Wellbeing.
Sorry, did you say lady doctor?
A lady called Dr. Laurie Santos. Lady Doctor Laurie Santos. Super formal. She doesn't want to be addressed as Lady Doctor. She's a lady doctor. That's so old school. It's a lady doctor.
That's why I had to ask. I was like, this is really old school.
No, a lady who happens to be a doctor, Laurie Santos. She teaches a course at Yale called The Science of Wellbeing, which apparently is very, very popular. She says that what sustains success isn't status, it's meaning. It's connection. It's rest. It's the things that actually fill us up. And I agree with the lady doctor. I think that's meaning is an important thing, and coming to the truth of ourselves is super vital. There was a report a couple of years ago, a Gallup report, that found that the most engaged and high-performing employees didn't feel overwhelmed. They felt supported because they had autonomy and the space to do their best work without being constantly drained.
Yeah.
And then there's this book, which is actually quite interesting. It's called The Good Enough Job by Simone Stolzoff.
I love it already.
Right. And in that book, they talk about how we've collapsed our identity into our jobs. Even when we make it, it can feel empty because it's not success on our terms. And when I read that, I was like, okay, it's enough for today. Leave me alone.
Get out of my head. You were not invited.
Wench. Leave me.
Return from whence you came.
Scrum. Yeah, it's like, if you don't mind, get out of my head. But and definitely we've both been on that journey of decoupling our careers and our life milestones, achievements, blah blah blah, from our self-worth. Listen, we spoke to a qualified psychotherapist at the end of last season, Phil Shaw. He is qualified to have this conversation. We are not. But listen, go and get help, okay? Because this self-worth journey.
See. And do you know what's worse? What's worse is that you have certain societies who, even if you are the kind of person who is not interested in having your identity being tied up in your job, I mean, we can sit here with our national health care and, our social services and go, oh yeah, let's decouple our identities. But there's some economies in which that is it. Like your job defines your life, period, point blank.
Yeah.
And like you said, the game is rigged. It really is.
It really is. And it's so true. Like, if you cannot get healthcare without a job, if you can't look after your basic fundamental needs without a job, if every time you go to a function and the first question a stranger says is, so what do you do? Your dad.
I just got it.
That was so childish. But like
season 2 is off with a bang.
quite literally. So, but it's just such a, it's so pervasive, this attachment of what you do with your value as a person. And even in things like that, you're like, I need to, like, it's something that I've had to think about, of not asking people that question.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, I had to check myself. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
Listen, if I'm honest, I actually don't care what people do. So why am I even asking?
Because we've been conditioned. That's it. Like, small, it's part of the small talk, the weather.
Yeah, and I hate small talk anyway. Give me big talk or give me silence.
Go big or go home.
Exactly. But it's just so, anyway, I think what we are very much in the same place of, like, it is a trap, but we don't have to stay stuck in it. And there are ways that we can, while still existing within this system, there are still ways that we can make things better for ourselves. And I think it's a good time to introduce a new regular segment.
Oh, let's go.
Okay. This is called Living Proof. I think sometimes we can have our conversations, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we can talk about how we see things, but what's really helpful is to see who's done this or who's tried to make moves in this area. So there's a more practical example that hopefully that's good for us and good for our listeners. So our inaugural Living Proof, potentially one controversial, but I'll get to that, is
we don't run away from controversy here, do we?
We sure don't. We're not scared.
We're not scared. Bring it on. Let's go.
But also leave us alone. We don't have lawyers.
We don't have the emotional energy.
We don't have the capacity or the bandwidth. We're quite sensitive. Be nice.
We jest.
We're joking. So the first Living Proof of season 2 is a gentleman called Dan Price. So Dan Price is the CEO of a financial services company, and he, a few years ago, quite famously raised his company's minimum salary to $70,000. People said, as you can imagine within that industry, they said it's going to ruin his business. You know, there were lots of naysayers and people making fun of just the mere idea. Mind you, this is in America, which makes us even more of a bold choice. But what actually happened? More employees bought homes, more people started families, people's debt went down, retention and productivity went up. And notice the things I'm talking about here. We're not talking about the bottom line first. We're actually talking about success in a different way, right?
Quality of life.
Quality of life. Dan redefined success, not just as profit, but as quality of life. So just to touch on that controversy bit, there have been some very serious allegations made about him, and I do want to acknowledge that. But it doesn't change the point that I'm trying to make here, is that how we measure success really matters. And whether you're running a company or just trying to live well as an individual, you do get to define what success is for you. You do. And so the prompt for today for everyone is just to think, what if we started measuring success in other things? Not just, title, salary, blah, blah, blah. But what if we measured it in connection, in peace, in smiles, in rest? Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Okay, so if there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode, it is this. Success isn't meant to drain you. It's meant to fit you. Success isn't meant to drain you. It's meant to fit you. So let's turn this into something that's kind of doable, actionable. And if you're wondering what undo meant when you saw the new title of this podcast, this is what it means. Every week we're going to talk about a topic. Yeah, it's cute, it's cool, we're adorable.
Yeah.
But we're also going to give you something to do with. We're going to give you something to unlearn.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you something that you have to do something new.
Undo.
Hey.
Get it?
Hey. I feel like I felt suddenly like a primary school teacher.
This is why we are friends, Dulcie. It's just little things like this that just make me completely giddy. I love it.
Absolutely tickled pink. So each week, like we said, we're going to give you a thing to unlearn and something to do, something new to do. So this week, we want you to unlearn that success has to hurt to count. We want you to unlearn that your job title is your identity.
Job titles are like rubbish now anyway. Like have you noticed, like, job titles are the most ridiculous thing.
What do they mean?
Principal, senior, something. I'm like, okay.
Listen, I have been a principal. I've been a chief of, I've been a head of, I've been a director of, and what I have also been is depressed every time I've had one of those titles. So that shit is not important.
Director of depression.
Right. That has been the only consistent thing. Listen. So all
we know what we're saying, guys.
You get it, right? It's not your identity. And depression is not your identity either, but maybe it's more of your identity than that job title.
But that's the thing. You have to, like, it's a side effect sometimes.
Listen, just be real, you know? Also, we want you to unlearn that if it feels good, it's not valuable.
So this one, Dulcie, I'm actively doing this now in my life.
You are.
I have
Yep. You are the poster girl for this. I love it.
I'm in my soft life era.
Yes.
And I've realized that soft life does not require as much money as I thought it did. See, I used to think, God, give me money so I can have soft life. And God was like, girl, have soft life. And money will come.
Yeah.
So I'm now in my... Look, if it does not feel good, it doesn't get done. Period.
Oh, I love that. Say it again.
If it does not feel good for me right now, it doesn't get done. See, look, that's why I have laundry piling up in the corner of my dining room. Like, washed laundry, completely washed, dried, everything, and it's just piled up, not folded.
There we go. Such is life. I say that all the time now.
Such is life.
Such is life. I only ever say it when something is expected of me that I'm not doing. Such is life. And then I hop away and do something I want to do. So if you want to reflect on this stuff more deeply around, you know, unlearning about success hurting or your job title being your identity, think about, where did you learn that success equals struggle? And what hasn't success given you so far? Okay, I'm just pushing those pressure points a little bit. Poke.
I'm going to need you to take your foot off my neck now. Thank you, Dulcie. Just step off.
No.
Just please.
I'm keeping it right there, okay?
Make a list. Write it down. What hasn't success given you so far? Write all the things that you wanted that success hasn't given you.
And then ask yourself, so is that really success or is that a damn trap? Okay? And start noticing when you dismiss ease, when you minimize joy. It's not the truth, honey. It's conditioning.
No, that's right.
Okay?
That's right.
But we're not just here to provoke you and to stress you out.
Yes, we are.
I am. We actually want to help as well. So we get onto the do something new. So we're going to this is where we take the bull by the horns, right? I want you, as much as you have done all that unlearning and thinking about what you need to let go of, now it's time to define success on your terms. Write it down. Success feels like, you know, X, Y, Z. What is it? What does it feel like to you? What do you want it to feel like in your life?
It feels like a first-class trip to New York City.
Oh, honey.
That's what it feels like to me.
And it does. This time last year, I was successful. I was drinking champagne in the first-class lounge, snapping pictures like an auntie.
Rich auntie era.
I was in my rich auntie era, fresh silk press. The pilot attending to my, literally the pilot came out to talk to me because I'm scared of flying. But he was treating me so nicely.
You deserve it.
You deserve it. I was like, this is nice. Oof.
Throw back.
I was looking at my calendar this morning and I'd gone back to this time last year. I literally went back and I was looking at like my flight.
Oh yeah, it was this time
It was this time last year. I was looking back at my flight stuff. I was looking at it. I was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go and look at my pictures. I was like, do you know what? Nostalgia is actually quite helpful sometimes.
Yes.
Just to remind myself, I was like, no, I did that. By myself, I made that happen for myself.
Yes.
And although I got ill on the trip, but I still loved that I did that thing for myself.
Yes, it was a huge milestone. And that's the thing, so apart from traveling and style, that's wonderful, but how you felt, that sense of achievement
was huge.
That was the key thing there, because that's what stays long after the trip is over.
A sense of achievement and the duck that I got in Chinatown.
Oh, sis, stop it.
And the breakfast burrito that I got.
Oh, stop it. I'm here sweating.
So that's what success feels like to me.
Oh my God.
It feels like a first class flight, some duck, and some breakfast burrito in NYC. But like, in all seriousness, write it down. What does success feel like for you? And then I want you to choose one small thing this week that aligns with that version of success. And it can be really small. It can be as small as going to bed at the same time every night, because actually success feels like rest. Just as an example. Choose one small thing this week that aligns with that version, with that vision of success for yourself. So it could be leaving work on time and refusing to feel guilty. When that feeling of guilt comes up, just say, get lost. I don't need that.
Or leaving that, email on read at 5:30 and shutting down your laptop and not replying to it. Yeah.
Resting without feeling that you have to earn it first.
Oh, yes, snatching some edges with that one.
Well, I'm going to keep my hands fistfuls of edges, because we are going to come back to rest later in this season.
Snatching some first daughter edges.
When we get to the rest episode, I advocate for everyone to put your hair in a protective style beforehand. So any loose strands, I will be snatching.
Get a lace front and glue it down.
Glue it. And then wear a hat, because I'm coming to snatch every strand from your head.
Do not wear any pearls.
No pearls, no dangling earrings. I'm snatching. But you have some weeks to prepare for that. And just a gentle invitation here around doing something new. It doesn't have to be radical, just real. I'm just asking that you start to live your definition of success. And like we said, listen, we are in a system that we don't have absolute control of, but we do have control over ourselves. We do have control over most, if not all, of the choices that we make. And we can choose to take control of what we can and make our lives feel better, and to reject what makes us feel like shit, which is often someone else's someone else's expectations. Who cares about their expectations? Listen, if someone else is do you want their life? You probably don't, right?
Okay. We need to move on. But honestly, that is a bar.
I'm just saying.
The person who do you want their life? Just start with that.
Okay. Enough said. Okay, so before we go, just to give a few extra resources if you want to go deeper into this whole topic, here are some books that we really rate. You can also go onto the library on the Workwell website. There's a link in the show notes and you'll find all of these and more. The first one I've already mentioned, it's called The Good Enough Job by Simone Stolzoff. And that looks at how we wrap our identity so tightly around work and what it might look like to loosen that grip a little bit. The next one is Rest by Alex Pang, it was gained a lot of popularity a few years ago. There's some aspects of it that I don't necessarily agree with, but by and large, it does make a really strong case for why rest isn't a reward for working hard. It's actually a really core part of how we do our best work and live well. When I say there's bits I don't agree with, there's some elements around some rigidity around wake up at this time to be successful. I don't play with that. We've done an episode where we talked about chronographs and knowing your own system. So that's exactly that, I don't agree with. But overall, it's a really strong case for rest. And then this one I read many years ago, but it's a really good book called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor. And it's all about how feeling good helps us to do well, not the other way round. Lots of research. It's very practical. I think it's probably due for a reread myself. So like I said, head to library on the Workwell website. You'll find all of those and lots more there. And the link is in the show notes. So I think that might be us.
Already. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, I'm so happy we're back. I've missed this.
Me too, darling.
I miss this. Okay, so let's wrap it up. If this episode reminded you that success should feel good, not just look good, we hope that it stays with you. And if someone you know needs that reminder too, pass it on.
And if you've got a few seconds, a 5-star rating or a quick review really helps us reach more people.
We're also doing short minisodes this season where we unpack real dilemmas from listeners. So if there's something you're wrestling with, be it boundaries, burnout, or just any awkward work stuff, send an email to dilemma@thisisworkwell.com. And don't worry, we will make sure you stay anonymous.
Absolutely. And if you want to keep up with us online, you'll find all the links in the show notes.
So next time, we are going to be talking about boundaries and why they are more than just saying no.
I'm ready already.
We'll see you then. Bye.
See ya. Bye.